All right, today we're jumping into a financial deep dive of advanced enzyme technologies. Now, this is a research-driven company that's become a major global player in the pretty specialized world of enzymes and probiotics.
So this is the company's motto, and honestly, it gets right to the heart of the story we're exploring today. How do you balance that drive for cutting-edge science with the need for responsible, long-term growth? Let's see how they're trying to pull it off.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, who these guys are. Then, how they actually make money. We'll take a look at their financial health, explore the big challenges they've been up against, and finally, check out their strategy for the future.
Okay, let's get right into it. Who exactly is Advanced Enzyme Technologies? Well, at its core, it's a company that started with a deep focus on research and has really blossomed into a global powerhouse.
And when we talk about their scale, it's seriously impressive. We're talking over 400 unique products that they own, all built from a library of more than 68 of their own enzymes and probiotics. They've got 9 manufacturing plants, and they ship their products to over 45 countries. So yeah, this is a company with a massive global reach, which gives them a huge advantage.
So you might be wondering, what exactly is an enzyme? Well, the simplest way to think about it is like a natural turbo booster. It's a biological catalyst that just speeds up chemical reactions. And this is where that whole sustainability idea comes from. In factories and industrial processes, these enzymes can replace harsh chemicals, which means better products, less energy used, and a lot less waste. Okay, so we know who they are and what they make. Now let's follow the money. How do they actually generate revenue? Well, their entire business really rests on 3 main pillars.
And wow, the first thing that just jumps right off the page here is how one segment completely dominates. Human nutrition brings in a whopping 67% of their revenue. That tells you right away that the company's fortunes are really tied to the healthcare and wellness markets. The other 2, animal nutrition and bioprocessing, they make up the rest.
So let's put some real-world examples on these segments. Human nutrition, that's all about healthcare and supplements, things like immunity boosters or digestive aids. Animal nutrition, that's focused on making animal feed work better for poultry, pigs, and even your pets. And then there's bioprocessing, which is just everywhere. It's used in baking, dairy, making your jeans, in laundry detergents, even in biofuels. It's incredibly diverse.
So, how does this all translate to the bottom line? Let's do a quick financial health check and look at some of the key numbers from the past 5 years.
Okay, here's their EBITDA. It's a good way to measure how profitable the core business is. And you can see a very clear story here. There was a strong growth, hitting a peak back in fiscal year 21 at over 2.3 billion rupees, but then you see this pretty noticeable dip, and that's the pattern we really need to dig into.
And yep, it's pretty much the exact same story when you look at their actual profit after tax. It almost perfectly mirrors that EBITDA trend. A big peak in 21 and then a downturn. This just confirms that something put some serious pressure on the company's profitability recently. Which of course brings us to the big question, what happened? Why would a company that was on such a great run suddenly hit a wall?
To find the answer, we actually have to look outside the company. The why here is all about the major global headwinds that were hitting businesses all over the planet.
You see, it wasn't just one thing. It was like a perfect storm. You had geopolitical tensions driving up the cost of fuel and raw materials. That fed into massive global inflation, which messed up supply chains. And then, as everyday life got more expensive for everybody, people started cutting back on things like supplements to focus on just the essentials. Each one of these problems just made the others worse.
And, the company even said it themselves in their annual report. It was a really complicated time. Yeah, the economy was recovering in some ways, but that recovery brought a whole new set of challenges that made it incredibly tough to operate.
So, with all that pressure coming from every direction, what's their game plan? How is the company responding? Let's take a look at their strategy moving forward. They've laid out a really clear 3-part strategy. First, they're going to double down on what they've always done best, research and innovation. Second, they're looking to grow by making smart, strategic acquisitions. And third, they're opening up a whole new battlefront by going directly to consumers.
On the R&D side, they are absolutely putting their money where their mouth is. I mean, investing over 4% of your net sales back into research, that's a serious commitment. It's a loud and clear signal that they believe innovation is what's going to drive their future growth.
Their acquisition strategy is just as sharp. They're not just buying companies for the sake of it, they're buying specific skills and technologies. Cytek gave them expertise in those fizzy effervescent products. Cyganesh helped secure their supply of a really important enzyme, and upping their stake in JC Biotech gives them more control over a key part of their business.
Now this third step, this is a really fascinating move. With this Welfa platform, they're taking all that deep scientific knowledge and selling it directly to people in the enormous Indian market. This creates a brand new way for them to make money and makes them less dependent on their traditional business customers.
So let's just boil it all down. The key takeaway is this. The company got hit hard by a tough global economy, and it hurt their profits. But the response hasn't been to sit back and wait. It's been a proactive, aggressive strategy that's built on innovation, smart acquisitions, and a bold move into a new market.
And that really brings us right back to where we started. The company's core technology, using biology instead of harsh chemicals, is fundamentally sustainable. But, as we've just seen, that alone doesn't make you immune to global economic shocks. So the real question, the one to keep thinking about, is whether this intense focus on innovation and expansion can build a business that isn't just sustainable on paper, but is truly resilient enough to handle whatever the world throws at it next.